Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. India to remain world's fastest growing economy in years to come, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Madhya Pradesh Global Investors Summit. Germany's conservative bloc wins 2025 federal election. Chancellor candidate Friedrich Merz vows to move swiftly to form a new government. February the 24th marks third anniversary of Russia-Ukraine conflict. Zelensky proposes sacrificing presidency for peace. Israeli foreign minister to meet senior European officials in Brussels. Gaza's future, regional politics on top of the agenda. Good afternoon to all our viewers joining us at this broadcast on DD India News Hour. To begin with the top story of the hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Invest Madhya Pradesh Global Investors Summit 2025 in Bhopal on Monday, emphasizing the state's vast potential as an investment hub. The two-day event is set to attract participation from over 60 countries, international organizations, and more than 300 industry leaders from across India. The summit will feature sectoral discussions on pharmaceutical, medical devices, transport, logistics and tourism, aiming to boost investments in India. In his address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi underscored India's vision towards becoming a developed nation, identifying textile, tourism and technology as the key growth sectors, and said that these sectors not only generate employment but also contribute to the nation's holistic development.
भारत के विकसित भविष्य में तीन सेक्टर की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रहने वाली है। ये तीनों सेक्टर्स करोड़ों नई जॉब क्रिएट करने वाले हैं। ये सेक्टर्स हैं टेक्सटाइल, टूरिज्म और टेक्नोलॉजी। आप टेक्सटाइल के सेक्टर को ही देखें तो भारत कॉटन, सिल्क, पॉलिएस्टर और विस्कोस का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा प्रोड्यूसर है। भारत का टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर करोड़ों लोगों को रोजगार देता है। भारत के पास टेक्सटाइल से जुड़ी एक पूरी ट्रेडिशन भी है, स्किल भी है और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप भी है। और मध्य प्रदेश तो एक प्रकार से भारत की कॉटन कैपिटल है। भारत की करीब 25% ऑर्गेनिक कॉटन सप्लाई मध्य प्रदेश से ही होती है।
At the inaugural event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also highlighted the state's rapid growth under double-engine government. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterated his commitment to working 3 times harder in his third term. And he also assured relief for middle-class workers, recognizing their critical role in tax contributions, manufacturing and supply chains.
MP में डबल इंजन सरकार बनने के बाद विकास की गति भी जैसे डबल हो गई है। केंद्र सरकार कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर एमपी के विकास में, देश के विकास में जुटी है। चुनाव के समय मैंने कहा था कि अपने तीसरे टर्म में हम 3 गुना तेजी से काम करेंगे। ये स्पीड हम साल 2025 के पहले 50 दिनों में भी देख रहे हैं। इसी महीने हमारा बजट आया है। इस बजट में भारत की ग्रोथ के हर कैटालिस्ट को हमने एनर्जाइज किया है। हमारा मिडिल क्लास सबसे बड़ा टैक्स पेयर भी है। ये सर्विस और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए डिमांड भी क्रिएट करता है। इस बजट में मिडिल क्लास को एम्पावर करने के लिए अनेक कदम उठाए गए हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also launched the industrial policies of Madhya Pradesh on the occasion. Prime Minister unveiled more than 80 new policies of the state, including those connected to industries, food, export, MSME, startups, GCC, semiconductor, drone, tourism and film production. And later today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will release the 19th installment of PM Kisan at Bhagalpur in the eastern Indian state of Bihar. Now, the event is in line with his commitment to boost connectivity, infrastructure and farmers' income. Over 9.7 crore farmers will receive direct financial benefits amounting to more than 21,500 crore rupees. He will also dedicate rail projects to Bihar. While in the evening today, Prime Minister will be in Guwahati in the northeastern state of Assam to attend a program that celebrates the culture of the states and especially the tribal. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also inaugurate Advantage Assam 2.0 Investment and Infrastructure Summit in Guwahati. It will include an inaugural session, 7 ministerial sessions and 14 thematic sessions as well. And to give you a better analysis of the ongoing whole of India approach, I'm joined by senior economic journalist Chubumai Bhattacharjee. Good afternoon, Mr. Bhattacharjee. Now, today, Prime Minister inaugurated the Global Investment Summit in Bhopal and later yet another initiative for farmers in Bihar. And then again, the focus will be towards Northeast with Assam initiatives. How do you see this whole of India approach in run-up to the vision of having developed India by the year 2047?
Yeah, because these are, as you can understand, when the Prime Minister goes for these sort of events, these are not one-off. You know, there's a lot of background study, background analysis done to understand why the presence of the Prime Minister is necessary. So these are essentially policy decisions that are being talked about by the Prime Minister, as you highlighted, and these therefore need to be understood as clear policies that would be put into shape. Now, those are very significant, but the difference is that unlike, instead of making as a national policy, which has got limitations, these are state-specific. So in Madhya Pradesh, for instance, he's talking about using cotton as the basis for the agricultural revolution. Similarly, in Northeast, it will be something else. And that is necessary because otherwise the accent or the focus gets diluted. You can't have the same size fit all for everyone.
And also when we talk about the Global Investors Summit, how is it helping the respective states? Because of late it has gained a lot of momentum right from UP to MP.
For the global investors, these summits are very important to really understand how well geared the states are and the state administrations are to receive investments. The problem in that is there now is not that there is lack of capital, but the challenge is how far is the state administration able to soak in those capital. What are the specific projects that they are able to discuss about? What is the scale at which they are discussing those projects? These are very significant. It's not just, asking for a couple of few hundred crores here and there. We are talking about not just few thousands, but we are talking about almost like 50 to 100,000 crores of investment. Now, those are big sums. Now, for those to come in, and as I said, the capital is not the issue. The issue is for the state administrations to take it, to understand what does it take for a global investor to be able to invest. They want to invest in India, that's for sure. And they are very keen, given India has lots of advantage in terms of demographic dividend, in terms of its capacity, in terms of the fact that the per capita income is rising, the national GDP, which is rising it's making it one of the fastest growing economies of the world. So they would want to know that which are the states which are willing to really push hard to make the investment successful. That calls for very difficult and very detailed negotiations, but the global investor summits are therefore a very important medium for states to show how well they are able to think in terms of making the investments come through. Yes.
And somewhere or the other, it also drives the employment opportunities for Indians as well, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, all of these investments have very strong impact on the state employment. So that's absolutely given. There's going to be a huge amount of advantage that accrues to the state's population. You know, states like Madhya Pradesh, they are extremely powerful in terms of the size of the young population that they have, the skilling centers that they can create, the amount of jobs that they can generate. So those are very massive. And critically, it all requires coordination, as the Prime Minister was pointing out, between the center and the states. Now, the center can give the advantage and the center can create advantages, but only to the extent that the states are able to run with those. So these meetings are very important.
Now in Assam, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to attend the biggest ever Jumo event as well. How do you see this much needed limelight received by the northeastern state, or the Ashtalakshmi states as we say, and the boost to the tribal culture, because culture is related to tourism and then it is related to state's economy as well?
Absolutely. You know, there are so many things, and Northeast is in a, we are calling it a takeoff state. Of late, you would have seen that there have been several major railway lines that have been inaugurated from the northeast Assam, which should be majorly significant. There are road connections that are now coming up over different areas of the Brahmaputra River. There are also projects that are connecting the northeast with our neighbors in the east. When we talk of the India's look east and act east policy, there is lots that's happening there. So the Northeast is very significant, and those would and the advantage of the Northeast is that the population there is trained. They have the capacity. Countries like Singapore and others have already established bases in those states, especially in Assam, to train people there in difficult skills to be able to serve the ASEAN markets. So there's plenty happening there, and it's just the right time to see how those things can, you know, all come together to give a fillip to the development of those regions. Yes.
All right. So with all these initiatives, India on its path to become a developed nation by the year 2047. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the multipolar approach by Prime Minister Narendra Modi towards India's development. It's now time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Up next, we'll get you live inputs from Berlin on Germany election. European Union leaders to hold a special summit on Russia-Ukraine conflict's anniversary. And Sharjah hosts 14th annual Sharjah Light Festival with the theme Art Meets Technology.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, we'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now it's time to get you all the latest from Germany elections. In a stunning election result that is sending shock waves through Europe and the world, conservative parties have triumphed in Germany, with Friedrich Merz poised to become the country's next chancellor. Here's more.
Yet another European country will now be governed by conservatives. The leader of the Christian Democratic Union, or CDU, Friedrich Merz, led his alliance to victory, securing more than 28% of the vote.
Thank you very much for the trust that you place in us and also in me personally. I'm aware of the responsibility and I also understand the magnitude of the task that now lies ahead of us. I face this with the utmost respect and I know that it will not be easy.
CDU far surpassed the Social Democrats under outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz, whose party slumped to an all-time low of just 16%. Meanwhile, the right-wing Alternative for Germany, AfD, has catapulted to a prominent place in the parliament. The party is celebrating its best-ever result. Their leader, Alice Weidel, has expressed a readiness to govern with the CDU-CSU alliance, though that remains highly unlikely at this stage. Most of Germany's mainstream parties have vowed to keep the AfD out of any coalition.
Wir haben alle gemeinsam.
We have achieved a historic result. We have never been stronger in the federal government. We have become the second strongest force as Alternative for Germany. And we have now formally established ourselves as a People's Party.
Merz is heading into coalition talks without a strong negotiating hand, although his CDU-CSUs emerged as the largest party. It achieved its second lowest post-war result. It remains unclear whether Merz will need one or two coalition partners to secure a majority, as the fate of smaller parties is still uncertain, potentially complicating the parliamentary arithmetic. A three-party coalition could be especially challenging, making it harder for Germany to demonstrate clear leadership. Chancellor Scholz, Social Democrat SPD, suffered a historic defeat, securing just 16.5% of the vote, marking their worst results since World War II, while the Greens garnered 11.8%. Voter turnout hit 83% this time, the highest since before reunification in 1990. The election results come at a time of unprecedented upheaval in international politics. With US President Donald Trump's recent actions, including direct talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin over the Ukraine, Merz and his allies are calling for greater European independence, particularly when it comes to matters of defense. Merz has made it clear that Europe can no longer rely solely on the United States, a sentiment that has resonated across the continent. Protracted coalition talks could leave Scholz in a caretaker role for months, delaying crucial policies needed to revive Germany's economy after 2 years of contraction, with companies battling against global competition. The future of Europe's political landscape will depend on how mainstream parties respond to these challenges. Aarti Rana's report for DD India.
Now, the European Commission's Vice President has expressed hope for formation of a new German government as fast as possible. Making the comments at a meeting of European Union foreign ministers in Brussels, she said, and I quote, "The German people have made a choice and now they need to put together the government. I hope that they do it as fast as possible because we really need to move on with the decisions also on the European level that require German participation," unquote. And now to give you more perspective on this, we'll speak to DW correspondent Varda Imran from Berlin. Good afternoon, Varda from India. Give us the latest update on Germany elections.
Well, now the result is actually clear. So now we know also that the smaller parties, at least the two smaller parties that yesterday were trying to get above the 5% threshold, are not making it into the German parliament. We're talking here of the Free Democratic Party, FDP, that was actually part of the three-way coalition until November, and the Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht is described as a far-left populist party. They will not make it into parliament, which essentially means that for Friedrich Merz and his conservative bloc CDU-CSU, it will be easier to form a two-party coalition. In other words, his Conservative bloc and the Social Democrats, provided obviously that the Social Democrats are actually on board. That is still not clear. What is clear is that if the Social Democrats enter into negotiations, into discussions with the Conservative bloc, the outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz will neither be part of the discussions, nor will he be part of a government led by Friedrich Merz.
Now, you say that the likely coalition is of the Social Democrats and the Christian Democrats. How is this alliance viewed in Germany and the market especially?
This alliance is not a new one in Germany. In fact, during Angela Merkel's time in office, that was a common alliance between her Conservative bloc and the Social Democrats. But obviously, the world now is a very different one. And not only that, the Conservative bloc is another Conservative party. Friedrich Merz is not very similar to Angela Merkel. In fact, the two are not the best friends. And Friedrich Merz has already indicated that he plans to move his party, his Conservative bloc, more towards the right instead of towards the center, which is where Angela Merkel had taken her Conservative bloc. So when you ask what Germans think about a possible alliance, now that's one element to consider. A second element to consider is what alternatives there are. Because if there are no other alternatives, many Germans would prefer a grand coalition, as it's called, instead of a minority government that Conservatives would lead, which would make things much more difficult for them in Parliament. So the question now is what Friedrich Merz will do, what his next steps will be. Will he enter into those discussions with, for example, the Social Democrats? Will he also try and enter discussions with the Green Party that also suffered in Sunday's result? Those are all elements that will become clearer on Monday here in Germany after we hear from the different party leaders, and also obviously in the next few days and in the next few weeks. One important element that's relevant to stress, this could take a long time. In the past, coalition building in Germany has even lasted up to nearly 6 months. So no one's expecting this time round, but what everyone is expecting is that it won't be easy for Friedrich Merz.
Also, will the incoming government be able to fuel the economy? What is their outlook so far?
Well, they have to fuel the economy. There's no way out of that. That's the main challenge that they face. And by the way, that was also one of the main topics that voters actually thought of when depositing their vote on Sunday. It was the economy and it was migration. And there's no doubt that the economy will play a very important role in whatever coalition ends up governing Germany, because the state of Germany's economy is in a very difficult one. If this year, if 2025 ends in recession, it will be the first time ever, the first time since the end of the Second World War, that Germany would have 3 consecutive years with recession. And that not only impacts living costs here in Germany, inflation, it also impacts how Germany performs internationally, because to a large extent, Germany's political influence in the world is closely linked to Germany's economic influence in the world. So we are not talking only here about the economy, we're also talking about what role Germany will play in the world in the next few months and in the next few years.
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas Sparrow, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the latest result of Germany elections. A lot of hopes are there on the new government. Thank you so much, Mr. Sparrow. Moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said he would be willing to give up his presidency in exchange for peace ahead of the 3rd anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, the Ukrainian president said in response to a question during a news conference that if to achieve peace, you really need me to give up my post and I'm ready. I can trade it for NATO membership if there are such conditions, quote unquote. Now, his comments came after US President Donald Trump called Zelensky a dictator without elections earlier in the week. According to Ukrainian law, elections are suspended under martial law, which has been in place since the conflict began in February 2022. Ahead of the Security Summit, European Commission's President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa arrived in Kyiv on Monday as Ukraine marks the 3rd anniversary of the ongoing conflict. Canadian, Spanish, Baltic and Nordic leaders also arrived in Kyiv. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a post on microblogging site X, told his country's people, and I quote him, that he was proud of their absolute heroism in fighting and living in the conflict that started with Russia exactly 3 years ago. Meanwhile, the European Union observed a minute of silence in Brussels to mark the 3 years of Ukraine-Russia crisis. They approved a 16th package of sanctions against Russia. 2 diplomats confirmed that. Now, meanwhile, European Union leaders will hold a special summit on the Russia-Ukraine conflict on the 6th of March, as US President Donald Trump makes overtures to Moscow over their heads. European leaders have been shaken by Donald Trump's overtures to Russia to end the 3-year-old conflict and improve relationship between the two powers. Also coming at the time of the 3rd anniversary of Russia-Ukraine conflict is the meeting between Donald Trump and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron at the White House on Monday. Ahead of the meeting, Macron said the European leaders are committed to ensuring that peace returns to Ukraine in a just, solid and lasting manner. He added that the security of the Europeans is strengthened through all upcoming negotiations. Now, Macron is also supported by most European leaders on his Washington mission, despite deep differences within the European Union on the question of sending peacekeepers to Ukraine to guarantee any future deal. Now, UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer follows later in the week. Also visiting the US would be European Union Foreign Policy Chief on Monday, where she will meet with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The two leaders are expected to discuss European Union and US relations and talks between the US and Russia on ending the conflict in Ukraine.
We have to support Ukraine right now more than ever. We are discussing and hopefully can pass the 16th package of sanctions, which includes gaming consoles to shadow fleet, the different aspects. And then we have also put forward a new defense initiative to support Ukraine with ammunition capabilities in the short term, what they need. So I also expect this political discussion to be moved forward.
And now shifting focus to Israel, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday that his country was prepared to resume fighting against Hamas after the Palestinian group accused it of endangering a 5-week-old Gaza truce by suspending prisoner releases. The first phase of the truce, which has largely halted more than 15 months of devastating war in the Gaza Strip, is due to expire in early March, and details of a planned subsequent phase have not been agreed. With tensions again surging over the deal, Israel on Sunday announced an expansion of military operations in the West Bank. Israel said on Sunday it was delaying the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners it had planned to free the day before until Hamas met its conditions. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that Israel was waiting to deliver the 620 Palestinian prisoners and detainees until the release of the next hostage has been assured and without the humiliating ceremonies. Now, meanwhile, in Brussels, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar will meet senior European officials today, reviving a dialogue with the European Union as the bloc now considers a role in the reconstruction of Gaza following last month's ceasefire deal. Now, Sa'ar will co-chair a meeting of the European Union and Israel Association Council with the European Union Foreign Policy Chief in the first such session since the year 2022, with talks set to focus on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, Israeli-Palestinian relations and changing regional dynamics. Moving on, a Bangladesh Air Force base in Cox's Bazar came under attack on Monday, resulting in 1 death and multiple injuries. According to an official statement from the Inter-Services Public Relations, the assault was carried out by miscreants from the Samiti Para neighborhood located adjacent to the airbase. The authorities have assured that the Bangladesh Air Force is taking necessary measures to control the situation. Cox's Bazar Deputy Commissioner stated that an investigation is underway to determine the cause of the attack. Moving on, the 14th annual Sharjah Light Festival concluded on Sunday with the theme Art Meets Technology, Transforming the Emirates Skyline. The light event altered Emirates' iconic landmarks into a spectacular canvas of light and sound for nearly 3 weeks, captivating interests of global audience. International artists created mesmerizing installations that blend contemporary light art with the rich cultural heritage of Sharjah. Now, the festival became one of the UAE's most anticipated cultural events, showcasing the intersection of modern technology and artistic expression.
With regards to the Sharjah Light Festival, one of our anchor events in the region and in Sharjah, Sharjah Commerce and Tourism Development Authority has been organizing this. This is the 14th edition. Every year, I always say the first edition and the last edition and the following editions will always have the same main strategic objective, is to showcase Sharjah using technology, sound, light, art, and to embrace and bring in all the different artists and from different parts of the world, international artists with a lot of talent and skills to come and showcase their talents here in Sharjah. So it's a very strong platform to have in Sharjah.
We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar addresses United Nations Women Peacekeepers Conference. Naxal-hit Kerlapenda village votes for the first time. And Prayagraj Ice Guinness World Record with massive cleanliness campaign.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. After that short break, you're watching DD India News Hour. Now, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today made remarks at the inaugural session of the conference on Women in Peacekeeping, a Global South Perspective.
Good day. It is indeed a pleasure to address you all at this conference for women peacekeepers, where we focus on a Global South perspective. You're all aware that this year marks 25 years since the adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security. Indeed, this conference not only reflects the progress made so far, but also reaffirms our collective commitment to enhancing and empowering the role of women in peace and security. India is proud of its contributions and association with UN peacekeeping, a commitment that spans decades. Since the 1950s, India has contributed over 290,000 peacekeepers across more than 50 missions. In fact, India remains the largest troop contributing country to this day. Currently, more than 5,000 Indian peacekeepers are deployed in 9 of the 11 active missions, often in challenging and hostile environments, with a singular focus: the advancement of global peace and security. In this pursuit, India has unfortunately lost nearly 180 peacekeepers whose supreme sacrifices are etched in the history of our collective endeavors forever. One such individual, Captain Gurbachan Singh Salaria, posthumously honored with the Paramveer Chakra for his courage during the UN mission in Congo, remains a beacon of inspiration. His is the singular case of this highest honor being awarded for operations conducted abroad. Friends, India has been at the forefront of deploying women in peacekeeping roles, both military and police. The first chapter of this journey began in the 1960s when Indian women as medical officers were deployed in Congo. In 2007, India was the first to deploy an all-woman formed police unit in Liberia, a pioneering initiative that had an indelible impact on both the host community and the broader UN framework. Over the years, this initiative empowered Liberian women, increasing their participation in security sectors. Today, India proudly continues this legacy with over 150 women peacekeepers deployed across 6 critical missions, including those in the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Lebanon, Golan Heights, Western Sahara, and Abyei. India has produced a multitude of exemplary women peacekeepers who have inspired others globally. Dr. Kiran Bedi, who served as the first woman UN police advisor, Major Suman Gawani and Major Radhika Sen, recipients of the UN Military Gender Advocate Award in 2019 and 2023 respectively, and Ms. Seema Dhundia, who led the first all-woman formed police unit in Liberia. These are just a few who have blazed a trail for others to follow. I'm pleased that some of these distinguished individuals will engage with you during this conference. Friends, India strongly believes that peacekeeping is an effective instrument in the maintenance of international peace and security. This year is of particular importance as 2 significant events will take place: the Peacekeeping Ministerial in Berlin and the Peace-Building Architecture Review in New York. Discussions here today can play a crucial role in shaping the outcome of these processes. The participation of women in peace operations makes it more diverse and inclusive. It is essential that we continue to increase the representation of women in peacekeeping. This is not only a matter of quantity, but equally of quality. Women peacekeepers often have unique access to local communities, acting as role models for women in conflict zones. Training courses tailored to include modules sensitizing peacekeepers to issues related to women will enhance the effectiveness of peace operations. India remains committed to supporting global South nations in building their peacekeeping capacities. Through initiatives led by the Center for UN Peacekeeping, India will continue to offer training and capacity building programs, including courses specifically designed for women peacekeepers, as we did with ASEAN countries in 2023. At the heart of our foreign policy lies a commitment to peacekeeping rooted in dialogue, diplomacy, and cooperation. Guided by the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the belief that the world is one family, India will continue to contribute meaningfully to the cause of UN peacekeeping. You, the women peacekeepers, are a source of immense inspiration for countless women and girls around the world. Your presence here will undoubtedly bolster your leadership and strengthen your roles as messengers of peace. I trust that your experiences in India will empower you as you continue to lead with purpose and with passion. I thank you all for your attention.
The 2-day conference is being organized by the Ministry of External Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Defence and the Centre for United Nations Peacekeeping Mission. The conference brings together the participation of women peacekeepers from 35 troops contributing countries from the global south. India's President Draupadi Murmu hailed India's contribution to UN peacekeeping. Now, since the 1950s, India have contributed over 290,000 peacekeepers to more than 50 peacekeeping missions. Now, the first session of the Delhi Assembly began on Monday with newly elected Chief Minister Rekha Gupta taking the oath as the member of the Legislative Assembly. Delhi Cabinet Ministers Parvesh Sahib Singh, Ashish Sood, Manjinder Singh Sirsa, Ravinder Indraj Singh and Kapil Mishra along with Pankaj Kumar Singh took oath as the members of the Legislative Assembly in New Delhi. Now, following this, the election of the Speaker will be conducted on Monday. The BJP won the Delhi Assembly elections and has formed the government with a majority. After 75 years of independence, Naxal-hit Kerlapenda village in the Sukma district of Chhattisgarh witnessed a historic moment as residents cast their votes for the first time on Sunday in the third phase of polling. Now, this milestone was a significant moment for the villagers who had never been a part of the electoral process before. The election also gave many voters a first chance to put forth their demands in front of the leaders. Now, this follows after a Bijapur district, a once insurgency-hit area, saw enthusiastic participation of the voters who were happy to exercise their voting rights during the second phase. Now, this shows their willingness to become a part of mainstream development while rejecting violence. A major rescue operation is underway following a tunnel collapse at Sri Sailam Left Bank Canal project in Nagar Kurnool district in the Indian state of Telangana. 8 individuals remain trapped with the tunnel after the roof caved in. Teams from the Army, Navy, NDRF, SDRF and other agencies are working to locate and rescue the trapped workers. Telangana's Chief Minister Revant Reddy is monitoring the situation and is in constant communication with his ministers and senior officials. Meanwhile, Minister Juppalli Krishna Rao briefed the media on the progress of the rescue operation, expressing concerns over the condition of the 8 workers trapped inside the tunnel.
Water gushing inside and also the mud. Hundreds of tons of the TBT mission pots almost gushed away. It came almost 200 meters away. We can't say now. We are hopeful, but the incident took place very serious, and chances we can't say.
Moving on to updates from Mahakumbh now. In a record, over 600 million devotees have taken a holy dip at Triveni Sangam since the inception of Mahakumbh 2025. So far, over 7.425 million devotees took the holy dip till 12 noon local time on Monday at the holy confluence of Triveni Sangam. Over 650 million devotees are expected to take the holy dip by the final Snan, which is scheduled to take place on the 26th of February on the occasion of Mahashivratri. Now, the Mahakumbh has seen the largest participation in any religious, cultural or social event across India so far. And expecting a massive turnout of the pilgrims for the final holy dip scheduled for the 26th of February on the occasion of Mahashivratri, the UP government is ramping up preparations to ensure that Mahakumbh concludes smoothly. The state government has intensified preparations as the crowd continues to swell. The police is continuously monitoring the CCTV footage from the entire Mahakumbh area. The control room is functioning 24/7 to ensure zero-error compliance with the security protocols. Mounted police personnel are also patrolling the area to ensure foolproof security and also to instill confidence among the visitors. Comprehensive measures are being implemented to ensure enhanced sanitation, efficient crowd management and adequate medical facilities for expected rush as well. And with this, a massive cleanliness campaign will also be launched on Monday in Prayagraj district of Uttar Pradesh, aiming to set a Guinness World Record for cleanliness. Over 15,000 sanitation workers will conduct a synchronized cleanliness drive across 4 zones, which is the helipad parking, Bharadwaj Ghat, Old Chiti Road and Harishchandra Ghat, along with the Chakramadhev Ghat. Earlier, a river cleaning road was made on the 14th of February with over 300 workers participating in the drive. Now, as part of the Advantage Assam 2.0 program, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visited the Kaziranga National Park during his tour of Assam on Monday. He expressed his admiration for the park's rich biodiversity, calling it a remarkable experience. Dr. S. Jaishankar arrived at Kaziranga early in the morning and began his visit with an elephant safari through the Kohoda forest range. He then took a jeep safari where he had the chance to witness a variety of wildlife, including the iconic one-horned rhinoceros and the tigers. Now, the minister praised the park's successful conservation efforts and its vital role in protecting endangered species. He also highlighted that Kaziranga has attracted over 3 lakh tourists this season, underscoring the park's growing international appeal.
इस साल I think already 3 lakhs they have already crossed.
Yeah.
तो अच्छा, it's a good trend. It's a good trend that क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री कहते हैं even within country कि हम सबको अलग-अलग स्टेट जाना चाहिए, देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ इतना सारा नेचुरल टूरिज्म भी है और क्रिएटिव टूरिज्म भी है.
We are heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. 31st Screen Actors Guild Awards celebrates excellence in film and television acting. And Real Madrid goes second after bruising aside Girona by 2-0 in Spanish La Liga. And up next, delightful visuals from Rio de Janeiro's annual Blocao street party.
Timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture. From the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. And now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of entertainment. To begin with the SAG Awards, the 31st edition of the Screen Actors Guild Awards, or the SAG Awards, celebrating excellence in film and television acting, was held on Sunday, just 1 week before the 97th Academy Awards. While many of the winners aligned with expectations or previous ceremonies, there were a few surprising outcomes as well. Diptanshu Kashyap has more. Take a look.
With just 1 week to go until the Oscars, the 31st Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards took place, bringing both expected and surprising outcomes. The award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture went to Conclave, with stars Sergio Castellitto, Ralph Fiennes, Jean Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini in attendance.
Thank you very much indeed.
In the leading acting categories, Demi Moore took home the award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role for The Substance.
Thank you so much.
While Timothée Chalamet won for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in the Leading Role for A Complete Unknown.
Thank you so much.
The Supporting Actor Awards went to Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. The Lifetime Achievement Award was presented to legendary actor Jane Fonda. In television, Shogun won Outstanding Ensemble in a Drama Series and Outstanding Stunt Ensemble. Hiroyuki Sanada and Anna Sawai took acting honors in drama. Only Murders in the Building won Outstanding Ensemble in a Comedy Series, with cast member Martin Short named Best Actor in a Comedy Series. Other winners included Colin Farrell for The Penguin, Jean Smart for Hacks, and Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer. The ceremony was hosted by Kristen Bell, who was also nominated for Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Comedy Series for Nobody Wants This. The Guild, however, cancelled its live in-person nominees announcement due to the raging wildfires across Los Angeles, opting to share the nominations via press release. The Guild also encouraged people to donate to a charity supporting wildfire relief efforts. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for TV India.
And now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first. Well, New Zealand's captain Mitchell Santner has won the toss and opted to bowl first against Bangladesh in their Champions Trophy encounter in Rawalpindi. The Kiwis have made 2 changes. They've brought Kylie Jamieson in place of Nathan Smith and Rachin Ravindra in place of Tyrrell Mitchell. The fate of Group A, especially Pakistan's future in the tournament, is also banking on the result of this match. If New Zealand defeat Bangladesh in this group match encounter, the group is done and dusted, with India and Black Caps qualifying to the next round, which will eliminate the hosts Pakistan as well as Bangladesh from the ongoing Champions Trophy. Star batter Virat Kohli slammed an unbeaten 100 to lead India to a 6-wicket victory over Pakistan in the marquee clash of the Champions Trophy in Dubai. The ace cricketer anchored another chase as India put one foot in the semi-finals of the tournament. The player of the match also surpassed several milestones in the game that is considered as the mother of all the battles. Here's a report.
Virat Kohli silenced his detractors as he powered India to a 6-wicket win over Pakistan in the high-octane clash at the Champions Trophy in Dubai. Critics were baying for his head, especially after a string of modest performances in the recent past. Kohli anchored a tricky chase with an unbeaten 100 against the arch-rivals as India inched closer to a semi-final berth after second successive win in the tournament. Electing to bat, Pakistan were all out for 241, with Saud Shakil and Mohammad Rizwan scoring the bulk of the runs. Indian spinner Kuldeep Yadav was pick of the bowlers, returning with a figure of 3 for 40 runs. In chase, skipper Rohit Sharma began briskly but was dismissed soon. Kohli joined opener Shubman Gill, and the duo put on 69 runs for the second wicket partnership to calm jitters in the dressing room. After Shubman Gill's departure, Shreyas Iyer and Kohli accumulated risk-free runs in a stand of 114. In the match, Kohli reached multiple milestones, notching up his 51st one-day international 100. He also became the fastest batsman to reach 14,000 ODI runs, eclipsing the landmark 63 innings fewer than previous record holder Sachin Tendulkar. Kohli also broke the record for most catches by an Indian fielder, surpassing former skipper Mohammad Azharuddin's record of 156 catches in ODI format. Next, India will take on Kiwis on Sunday in Dubai, which again promises to be a battle royale. Bureau Report, DD India.
In soccer, a blistering first half volley by Luka Modric and a late Vinicius Junior strike helped Real Madrid to a 2-0 home victory over Girona on Sunday. Los Blancos snapped a 3-game winless run and moved up to second place in La Liga behind Barcelona. 39 years old, Modric, who's lifted 28 trophies since he joined the Spanish Giants in 2012, will be out of contract at the end of the season. Now, Real's victory lifted it to 54 points after 25 games, level with Barcelona, which beat Les Palmas by 2-0 away on Saturday, but trailing on the head-to-head count. Atletico Madrid are third with 53 points. And Liverpool took another step towards the Premier League title with a 2-0 victory at Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. Mohamed Salah was again Liverpool's star performer as he opened the scoring before setting up Dominique to double the lead before half-time. Liverpool went 11 points clear at the top of the standings. Now they have 64 points from 27 matches ahead of second-placed Arsenal, who have a game in hand. In tennis, Novak Djokovic will play at Indian Wells as the Serbian shakes off injury concerns and resumes his hunt for a 100th singles title. The 24 times Grand Slam winner retired from his Australian Open semi-final with a hamstring problem last month and lost in the first round of the Qatar Open last week. His disappointing display raised concerns that he would not play in the Southern California event. Now, 5 times Indian Wells winner Djokovic will aim to become the third man to claim 100 singles title in the professional era behind Jimmy Connors and Roger Federer. Ethiopia's long-distance runner Solomon Bariga celebrated his marathon debut with a strong show at the Seville Marathon on Sunday. The gold medalist in the 10,000 meters at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics broke away from the pack to race a comfortable victory in a time of 2 hours, 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Compatriot Tafir Adisu finished second with Morocco's Mohamed Rida Al Arabi rounding out the podium. In women's race category, Ancinalo Daisy powered to victory in a time of 2 hours, 22 minutes and 17 seconds ahead of Menon Trapp. Trapp was visibly overcome with emotion after crossing the line, with her time setting a national record for France. Now, Sunday's race for the 40th edition of the Seville Marathon and sold out all 14,000 places. And before we close, it's now time to get you beautiful visuals from Brazil as Rio de Janeiro hosted pet owners and their costume dogs to celebrate the annual Blocao Street Party. On the iconic beach of Copacabana, pre-carnival festivities kicked off, gathering dozens of pets and their owners dancing to carnival music. The party provided a unique opportunity for pets to join in the city's vibrant carnival festivities. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.